What is up, Impact Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Anthem of Impact Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Jason, and I am here to review and give my thoughts on Thursday night's episode of Impact Wrestling. Now, I overall thought it was a very well done show. It's a very different show, and I think I brought this up on last week's review. It's becoming becoming a different product. Just with the whole, the overlaying of the different companies right now, you can tell it's very heavy Crash and AAA, really even just mostly AAA, with the different location matches and different stuff like that. I think it's really cool. The matches that we did get were pretty good. And again, good job on furthering storylines, good vignettes, good, just a lot of good stuff. I really enjoyed it overall. Of course, there could always be more wrestling, but at the same time, I'm also somebody that is a fan of storytelling and segments and stuff like that. I don't necessarily like it whenever they're just standing in the ring for like 20 minutes doing it back and forth. But I like the video packages. I like the pre-tapes. I like the vignettes and all that stuff. As long as it's furthering storylines, it's entertaining. It makes for a good TV show. That's what I like about it. So let's get into it, shall we? Go bit by bit and follow through. I think the opening was really cool. It started off with Johnny Impact kind of coming in through the parking lot, going through the backstage looking for Eli Drake, and then it transitioned like right into him going out. I thought that was actually really cool. It's a different way to open up the show. Of course, he's out there calling for Eli Drake. And I thought the crowd was actually pretty hot, especially for this segment. They were pretty loud, chanting a lot, having a lot of enthusiasm. It was good. Of course, Eli Drake does not come out. KM comes out, brings a referee with him. I thought this exchange between the two were really good. And like it transitioned, the whole like the promo, the back and forth promo transitioned really good into giving KM his line, his gimmick line of "Are you calling me a liar?" But it didn't seem forced. It was a nice gradual back and forth that ended up with, I mean, you could see it coming a little bit, but it wasn't one of those things where he just straight up called him a liar, and then you're like, "Are you calling me a liar?" It was nice back and forth, and then KM figured out that he was basically in a way calling him a liar, and KM called him out on it. So I thought that was really good. Of course, that led to a number one contendership match that KM got Johnny Impact to do. Of course, Johnny Impact started getting the douche rocket chant going. I thought that was pretty funny. I thought for the match itself, it was a very physical match. I thought KM actually looked pretty good in it. And like the way that match happened, that was a really good way of Johnny Impact still looks good, still looks dominant, still looks like, the superstar, but yet still got KM over in a loss. As far as KM looked really good. He didn't look like a guy that just got squashed by a guy that's going for a title. But he also didn't look really dominant at any point either, so Johnny Impact is still looking like a dominant contender that Eli will have to somehow get out of, get away with a win against at Victory Road. So I thought, overall that was really good. I don't know how many other people think this, but I absolutely hate that countdown to Impact, I think is what they're calling. I don't know. It's countdown something finisher from Johnny Impact. I just think it's garbage. And it's not even necessarily the move. It's the countdown, because usually Johnny Mundo, John Morrison, Johnny Impact is very quick, like jumping up, getting anywhere in the ring that he wants to go. But for this, it's like he slowly climbs up the ring post, gets to the top rope, and then turns to the crowd and makes them count down for 5 seconds. Meanwhile, this whole 15-second thing that's happening, the guy is laying down there forever. The guy that is laying down on the apron or on the in the ring, waiting for this move to happen, looks like a total jabroni. because it's not like Impact sets it up with a huge, impactful move, a devastating move that would render a man conscious or unconscious. You know what I mean? Or just, to the point where he can't get up to move away from this move. And I just think it's bad. I just don't like it. He can keep that split leg quick moonsault thing off the, springboard moonsault thing that he does. That's fine. I can't remember what he calls it. He calls it something else, but that would be fine. But this move is just, or even if he just got up and did this move instead of having to count down, no, not a big fan. Not a big fan. So sorry, Johnny. I'm a big fan of yours, just not a big fan of that move. I think you're trying to show off too much in that move and try to get the fans to be cool with you, and I don't know. Also, Johnny Impact as a heel is much better. Him as Johnny Mundo in Lucha Underground comes off way better and cocky than this face Impact. Not that I hate him as a face right now. I'm just saying it just works better, obviously, as a heel. After that, we get a squash match for Taya Valkyrie versus Ava Story. Again, it's another really good showcase for Taya. Gets her over as a dominant person without having to go up against anybody else that they're also trying to keep looking strong. She gets on the mic and she says she wants to go after the Knockouts title, which starts just bringing out the revolving door of knockouts. They all start fighting each other, which then ends with Gail Kim coming out and clearing house. Later on, we find out that it will be the three faces versus the three heels at Victory Road, and I can't wait for that match. I think it's going to be really good. Hopefully they maybe, of course, it's already been filmed, so I get that. But I'm hoping that, and nobody tell me, nobody get on here that knows the results. Don't get on here and leave me a comment saying, oh, don't worry, it's this, or oh, yeah, no. I would hope that if it's 3-on-3, they go to like a no disqualification type thing, and they allow all three to really kind of get in some stuff instead of just a normal 3-on-3 tag. But again, don't give me any spoilers. All right, so then we go to a video package. This is one of the things that makes Impact look different now, and it's the video package now. OVE has stayed a week, and they're heading to the LAX club, strip club, whatever it is. Because no girls are really stripping or anything, so it's just like a girls club. Whatever, it's their club. Homicide's like a bouncer there, runs it. I don't know, but he's there, and he's kind of somewhat in charge in a way. So OVE, it's like, all right, let's go in, show them how Ohio does it. Of course, Homicide's like, I'm a bad door guy, I'm a bad bouncer, but I'm going to give Conan a call and tells him that they're coming in. But overall, I really love how they're building this because it's been done really quick, and they've kind of skyrocketed OVE without really beating anybody. I mean, like really beating anybody, any of the tags. Not like they went out and beat like VOW or obviously Reno Scum, who hasn't been on TV in a while, or like any teams. They did beat the team that always gets beat. They beat a couple jobbers. But this specific feud, they're giving you a reason why these two teams are feuding, and that's what I like about this overall. The way that they're building this, with them going to the crash and them coming out and having that verbal back and forth. They're kind of going with the Ohio versus everything. They're hotheads because they think that they're the best, and it's Ohio versus everything. Then you got LAX, and they're hotheads because they're the Latino hotheads. Everything pisses them off. They're out to prove everything. They always have a chip on their shoulder because they're Latino. Latinos in America. So you got this back and forth, and so far they built it really well, and they're using these segments with them going down to the crash and things getting switched on. So now it's a four-way. They didn't lose. They weren't the ones that got pinned. So they feel that they should still get their one-on-one shot that they asked for in the first place. now they're going back and forth and all this stuff. So I like how they're building that part of it. It's been, and that part's been very entertaining, and it's different than any other company out there. I know some people that are Lucha Underground fans are probably going to say, actually, it's pretty Lucha Underground-ish. Well, sure, to a point, but it's also not, because they're not going full-blown Lucha Underground style with it. They're kind of doing their own little style. It is resemblance. It does have a resemblance of it, but it's not identical. And that's okay, because there's only so many ways you can do things. You're going to resemble and somewhat copy somebody else at some point. I don't feel like this is a copy. I feel this is a resemblance. This is a taking somebody's idea and putting your own twist on it. After that, we get a segment for the Global Forged. I'm kind of curious to see where this all actually goes. With Gut Check, I always felt like, because I feel like this is kind of like an idea of Gut Check. But with Gut Check, I always felt like I could almost tell who the winner would be of the match, and then depending on how that match went, I could, because there's always like one bigger, well-known indie guy name, and then some jobber. It just, so you kind of always came up and it's like, oh, okay. It might kind of be like a shoot, but it's a planned shoot kind of thing. I don't know. But I always kind of felt like, so I don't know if this is going to be kind of like that, because it's been really they're just quick, glossed over segments. And we're seeing a bunch of people have, no offense, like there was one guy I saw on this last segment that looked like he could be a decent wrestler, could be a good X Division guy. But outside of that, there's nobody, and I mean nobody that they've shown that looks like they have any business being in the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Like they could, obviously they're not fully packaged yet. Something could change, whatever. But, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't see anybody here that could just show up on Impact one day and be like, yeah, look at me, I'm legit. Like nothing stands out to me. So I'm really curious to see where this goes. Are we going to dive in further? Are they actually going to release these things? If somebody actually knows if they've released these on like Fight TV or like on their Global Wrestling Network or in YouTube, because I haven't seen them on YouTube. I just see the segments that we already see on TV, on Pop TV. But let me know in the comments where to actually find like a legit full-blown episode, or if these are the episodes, these like minute and a half vignette segments, But let me know, because I would like to watch it. I would like to get to know what's going on. Maybe even kind of review them, maybe. Then we go backstage, and this is where we find out about the whole, well, not quite yet, but the interview, Gail, Rosemary, and Allie. It's very entertaining, very fun. It's kind of cool to see Rosemary kind of be this like weird, wacky, goofy person. It's very entertaining, and can't wait to see where that goes. Then we get an absolutely hilarious video package with Grado doing his first duties as the client for Park and Park. It was absolutely hilarious. Just him. There's nothing funnier to me right now than Grado saying, "Dollar bill, y'all. Dollar bill, y'all." Just, oh my gosh. That was absolutely hilarious. Just everything that he did. Grado is great. He is hilarious. Great cameo by Colt Cabana, by the way. Uh-oh. Are they going to get a cease and desist from Ring of Honor? I don't know. I don't care. I just thought it was funny. Hey, bring Colt Cabana in. If anything. You guys want to bring in some indie darlings? Bring in Colt Cabana. But anyway, I just thought that whole thing was funny. Of course, and Sanjay Dutt was in it too, where they're like playing with Muddy, like, "Oh yeah, we got paid." I just thought it was funny, and it was naming off, like making it seem like it was a bigger deal than it was. Like they wrestled in like this little church hall, and like he made it feel like it was like this most like historical, important building. I just thought it was really good. It was really funny, very tongue-in-cheek, good. Then after that, we get a pretty good tag team match. We have Pagano and Phantasma versus EC3 and Eddie Edwards. I thought they told a really good story of, Eddie and EC3, obviously they don't get along, well, at least not in storyline wise, and kayfabe. So they played that up. They played up, but they're banding together. Pagano and Phantasma working together, even though they haven't really been seeing eye to eye. But they're more about the AAA and Mexico Pride. So they band together a little bit easier, back and forth. How the styles are different. Then we get the debut of a guy that I fell in love with watching in Lucha Underground, especially in his matches with Brian Cage. That is Teano Jr. And he's really good. I really like a lot of things that he does. So I'm excited to see him in Impact Wrestling. And he attacks from, I can't remember who it was from behind now. If it was Eddie or EC3, I think it was Eddie. Attacks him from behind. They get the win. And then they continue to beat down all three of them onto Eddie and EC3. But I'm sorry, AAA. Yeah, that's right. You heard me, AAA. I said, sorry about your damn luck. Because James Storm came out and beat your ass and cleared you out. And I love that they kept up with the continuity at a time that right now where Impact and Anthem is struggling with continuity due to people randomly leaving in between tapings and people doing a leave of absence in the middle of the airings of tapings and getting suspended and everything else. Continuity. Storm came out, did help out, but he shook the hand of Eddie while staring down, giving a death stare to the man that put him out of action for a very long time. That would be EC3. So looks like we're probably going to get, because I haven't seen anything for Victory Road yet. Hopefully, eventually, that's going to be a Bound for Glory match. I think that could be really good. And that's where it could be Storm, EC3, Eddie versus Pagano, Teano Jr., and Phantasma. That match could be really good. So happy to see James Storm back on. I've said this many times, definitely one of my favorite Impact TNA guys for sure. His theme song is my alarm clock. I wake up to that thing every morning. I'm saying that, sorry about your damn luck. I can't wait to see him back in the ring. It's going to be good. Anything he does is gold. And he should hold the gold at some point again. Hope he does before he leaves. But yeah, I just, it's going to be very interesting to see where they go with that. It should be really a lot of fun. After that, we go backstage. Johnny Impact is looking for Eli Drake again. Instead, he runs into the three AAA guys, his fellow three AAA guys. And they kind of have a back and forth, and all of a sudden he gets into it with Teano, and Teano Jr. and him decide that they'll have a match later tonight for Johnny Impact's number one contendership. Man, does he not want to be champion? Because he keeps giving it up, that chance, like, at a drop of a hat. It takes nothing to get Johnny Impact to put that number one contendership up for grabs. So that's happening later tonight, which I was definitely very, very, very excited for. And we will get that, which ended up being almost basically the main event outside of what the Eli Drake pre-package or pre-tape match was. Then we get Kongo Kong versus Mahabali Shera. I thought with this match, Shera is much, much improved. Still has a couple botches here and there. Still a little green. Still, really trying to find who he is as an in-ring performer. Like with that springboard that he kind of missed a little bit. But I think overall, though, he can put together a match. He looks more confident, like, while he's doing it. I have to say, though, he was very much improved. This is also, to me, the best match Kongo Kong has had in Impact. Just because it's not a random squash. Him and Braxton Sutter didn't really have much of a match. His tag match has been kind of whatever. Not like they haven't been bad, but they just kind of eh. This one seemed to have the most storytelling, the most, overall just him having good back and forth. Whenever he would sell, it made sense because Shera's a big dude. So I just thought they worked really well together. And, that's going to be a really good thing. Tyrus quitting could be a blessing in disguise specifically for Mahabali Shera. Because this is Tyrus's feud right here. This is Tyrus's program. You know, and here's an opportunity for Shera now to really prove himself and really get better and become a player for Impact Wrestling. So we'll see how that goes. We get a quick Moose video package discussing what happened, you know, with him and Lashley. Of course, the stuff with him and American Top Team last week. I thought it was really good. I could have seen him get a little more aggressive and like passionate in what he was talking about. But it was kind of like that normal Moose kind of monotone, like a serious, confident monotone. And then at the very end where he just kind of hit, you know, like Lashley's a bitch or a pussy or whatever it was that he said. That got bleeped out. I couldn't quite tell. I thought that was a really good way to end it because it came off as real because he wasn't like overly, you know, character or cartoonish with his emotions, and you know it's just kind of he's there like this is stupid, blah blah blah. Lashley, he always wants to run, but so I think that was really cool. That was really good. That should be a good story. I'm guessing that's probably going to be Lashley Moose at Bound for Glory. That could be a really, really, really fun match to watch. After that, we do get the main event of Inside the Impact Zone, which is Tiano versus Johnny Impact. I think you got exactly what you expected from these two. It was fast-paced, it was physical, a lot of high spots. Did lead to Johnny Impact winning. It was just good. It was just a good, fun match to watch. I was entertained. I enjoyed it. Not much more you can say about it, really, to be honest with you. But then we get Laurel Van Ness in the Impact Zone, just walking around amongst the crowd. She's back to kind of almost like halfway to that the hot mess Van Ness. And interesting. Let's see where it keeps going. Hopefully, maybe it's going to be one of those things where she keeps getting, she keeps turning around and falls in love. Gets dumped, gets a little crazier each time, to where we get this more like this demonic, crazy bride, and then that's just now her like persona, and that could be really cool. And I just think that right now she's got the chops, man. She's done a great job in every aspect of this character, a great job. So I'm really excited to see where this keeps going, especially if it just keeps getting, if it keeps evolving. Really good. Can't wait to see where that one goes. All right, now we get the other segment that really made Impact Wrestling very different. And that's the fact that not only does Impact Wrestling acknowledge, talk about, bring in people from other companies, no, they're going to give you a full-length match from another company on air. So they go down to Mexico, and the main event there, well, I don't know if it was their main event. They said it was, but I don't know. Probably wasn't. They go down to one of their shows, one of AAA's shows, and it's Eli Drake facing Bronze, I believe. God, I forgot to write the name down. I believe it was Bronze, who was supposedly like this really top young prospect guy down there in AAA, and he was super fast, man. That was really good. All I kept thinking about, though, is I wish they would have done the same thing with that tag match last week with the Crash and OVE and LAX and stuff, because that seemed to be a really fun match. Could have been one that was like really long, so that's why they cut it down. This was a little bit quicker of a match. But I think the look was just really cool, going in and seeing that and it being so different, and you're kind of sitting down and watching something different. I would like to see at some point, that they actually do a full taping or a full pay-per-view, do a full one night only, something from Mexico. I think it'd be really cool. I'm not talking about like they go down to the Crash or they go down to AAA. I'm talking about they do an Impact Wrestling show or Impact Wrestling pay-per-view, and they set up their own arena and they set up their own set. I think it'd be really cool. I think a lot of people down in Mexico would like it too. So I think it'd be really cool and fun. I think overall with the match, excuse me, Eli Drake, I think, looked really good in this. Looked like a typical heel. Looked like who Eli Drake should, and how Eli Drake should look in Mexico. This American guy that thinks he's hot shit, but is going to get, since it's a different style, this guy's a little too fast for him. We'll catch him off guard, blah, 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 can get reverses, and then he's got to find another way to win. And I think they accomplished that. Eli Drake did get the win. He retains the title. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Impact Wrestling. I just want to give a quick thought. I listened to a segment that was put up on YouTube from Jim Cornette, kind of explaining why he was leaving and all that stuff. And I thought it was really cool. I love how really nobody's following up with this. Any other time Jim Cornette comes out and talks about a topic or has something to say on his podcast, people can't stop posting it. Dirt Sheets can't stop reporting on it. Other YouTubers have to put it on their shows. He comes out and basically says, look, there's nothing against Global Force Wrestling, nothing against Impact Wrestling or Anthem or anybody else. It was just one of those things, like, I was never supposed to really be there for very long. But, Jeff, I've known forever, wanted me to do a favor. I came down, I did a favor. And, but they hadn't written me off TV yet. So I figured I was going to come back for Bound for Glory. And at that time, it was, decided on that it was going to be in Orlando. And then they decided to change it, and he's just not there to do this stuff. He doesn't want to really get back into wrestling. He didn't, obviously he can't go to Canada and all this other stuff. But the part that I wanted to pick up on was because I've seen some people that were bitching about, the whole switch from Orlando to Ottawa. There were some fans that were like, and I was one of them. I talked about it right here. I even said, I don't think, because I have never seen officially. What they might say to the Orlando crowd is one thing, because that's a small segment of a crowd. And like I said in my other video was, I'm sure in their minds they didn't really think that would be a big of a deal to to the bigger audience. But what they probably didn't put into consideration is, well, there's Twitter. And Impact fans, it's a very small cult following that they start tweeting out to people. And the fact that supposedly, I guess now Ed Nordholm came out and says he's hoping to get 500 people there. Whenever Bound for Glory has traveled in the past, Bound for Glory is a big enough show, and they put together a big enough show that you get people flying in for that. People do treat, the Impact fans do treat Bound for Glory and even Slammiversary like a WrestleMania, like a SummerSlam, where your Impact fans from the UK will fly over to see this. Before, it'd be fans from Canada flying down to see that show. They would make a weekend out of it. So I don't think they ever really thought about that. That's kind of the downfall of having somebody like Ed Nordholm that hasn't been in the wrestling business, trying to make some different business decisions, where business-wise it might kind of sound like a better idea. Probably cheaper for the company to put together the show there. I don't know. But you're thinking you're only going to get 500 fans at your biggest show of the year. That's concerning a little bit. I still hope it looks cool. I hope it looks packed. I don't know. I hope it does. I hope it goes over good. But I don't think what Jim Cornette said necessarily ever proves anything. And to be honest, I don't really care. I'm way over it. I don't care. I don't think a lot of other people care either. Whatever happens, if it takes place for me, like I said, if it takes place in Orlando or Ottawa, I don't care. I just want the show to go on. That's all I want. I don't want to be going into, I don't want to be the Monday before Bound for Glory, and we start hearing reports of it's not going to happen. They don't have money. It's not going to happen. Wrestlers don't know if they're supposed to show up or not. As long as that doesn't happen, I think that's a step forward from the last couple. But I totally get it. And I understand the people that were in the impact zone whenever they supposedly made the announcement of it will be in Orlando are mad about it. I get that. I totally do. But sometimes us like big fanatic fans, us marks, us people that just know some inside baseball stuff or some whenever we read reports of somebody leaving or somebody not leaving or somebody coming in or money problems or whatever, this or that, we're in tune to those reports, the inside stuff. For me, I've always felt like this. Like, it's cool to hear that stuff. It's cool to be in the know as far as all those behind the scenes stuff. But until I see some official statement, official wording, I don't make assumptions. That's just what I do. And I know it'd be hard. I mean, obviously it'd be hard if you're in the Impact crowd. Say you're at a taping and they're like, hey, coming November 5th here to the Impact Zone is Bound for Glory. Obviously, yes. But if something would throw up a red flag to me if I see that, but then like I'm looking on Impact Wrestling or I'm looking on whatever else and there's no other official statement or official way to find out when it is, when tickets go on sale and everything like that, I'm probably holding off. That's just what I would do. I mean, that's just me. I'm just telling you my point of view. I can't speak for everybody. And I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do either. I'm just giving my thoughts, my opinions. But yeah, so, Jim Cornette said he had assumed, due to the fact that they sent him a poster with him on it, but it didn't say Orlando, it just gave the date. He just assumed it was in Orlando, but nobody was telling him anything. That part was concerning, the fact that, he had to keep reaching out to people in the company instead of the company reaching out to Jim. Yeah, I don't know. He had a lot of good things to say, but I think since he said it in such a nice way and gave Impact and Global Force a kind of a thumbs up and wanting to do well, nobody wants to talk about it. So that's kind of a shame. That's kind of my bigger problem with that whole segment not being talked about. But I'm going to talk about it. Glacier showed up at Ring of Honor for some kind of Rumble and people lost their fucking mind. I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe Impact Wrestling needs to bring in Horace Hogan. What do you guys think? Horace Hogan? Next grand champion? Horace Hogan? Maybe Wrath? What other weird... Oh, Mortis! There we go! Bound for Gold at Bound for Glory should have a secret entrant, and it should be Mortis. I think people would lose their minds. People would be going nuts! Man, that'd be awesome. Man, Impact actually found like legit former WCW, ECW, WWE guys that can still actually go try to make an actual story out of it. Actually try to use them to get a bigger name, and it's all they do is pick up has-beens. Glacier was a has-been in '99. All right, it's 2017. He was a flop. But it was like the coolest thing. Oh my gosh. Whenever I saw, I think it was Ring of Honor or Fight TV that put the clip up of Glacier's entrance, read the comments. It was like, oh my god, oh that's so cool. And you heard the crowd like just erupt like Glacier was the biggest superstar in the world. I guess I don't get it. I always think Ring of Honor fans are like the hipsters of the world, of everything else. Like, if hipsters of pop culture are Ring of Honor fans. And I do like Ring of Honor. I'm just talking about like the hardcore like people that think everything that Ring of Honor does is like gold. It's crazy. What else? What else did I hear randomly that ground my gears? Oh, Jay Lethal. While Jay Lethal never said anything bad about TNA or Impact and wishes, like he said he wishes them well, he mentioned he considers Ring of Honor the number 2 company in the world. No, New Japan is the number 2 company in the world. Impact's 3, Ring of Honor, just because you're associated with New Japan. They threw out, I saw actually a tweet, Ring of Honor has for is it War of the Worlds? No, it's not that. Oh, Super Card of Honor. For the Super Card of Honor, Super Card of Honor promotional poster that they're already kind of throwing out, the Ring of Honor logo, the O, is now the New Japan logo. Is it now like WCW, NWO? Like, hey, Ring of Honor has jumped on the New Japan bandwagon so much so that that now it's like, they have to have the slash logos on everything they do. Ring of Honor has nobody. It's all New Japan guys. They still have, all right, so Ring of Honor still has, in my eyes, as far as like really good talents, Dalton Castle, which I don't even know if he's still there or not. I can't remember. So we'll give them Dalton Castle. They still have the Briscoes, the Addiction, Motor City Machine Guns. As far as like really good talents, like really good. Everything else is New Japan, or at least like New Japan shared contracts where they have contract, like it's one contract, but it's with New Japan and Ring of Honor. So like the Young Bucks are both. I think Marty Scurll's both. Then you have like Hangman. Well, he's kind of New Japan. Cody Rhodes, he's a free agent, but he's New Japan, and he's the Ring of Honor champion. Kenny Omega, New Japan. I mean, they just had 2 New Japan guys headline main event their show. If at Bound for Glory it was like Johnny Impact versus Murafuji, or Johnny Impact versus Tiano Jr., or something to where they weren't straight Impact contracted guys, people lose their shit. Be reported all over the place that this is how bad TNA is. This because nobody likes to call them GFW or Impact because they're stupid marks. Oh, TNA. No, it's not TNA anymore. It hasn't been TNA in a long time. Technically, it hasn't even been TNA since Hogan and Bischoff. They did the initial, we're now known as Impact Wrestling. TNA is like kind of like our roster. And they kind of started trying to fade it out then. But, they'll still say, TNA, this is how bad they are. They can't even have people main event their pay-per-view. They have 2 AAA guys main eventing it. The Ring of Honor does it. And it's badass. So no, Ring of Honor, who's on Comet TV, I think it's Comet, or no, it's not even Comet now. Now it's something like even more obscure that nobody has. They're on that. They're on at midnight on Saturday nights on ABC here in the St. Louis area. Let's see here. They have weekly shows that have no continuity whatsoever. They're just kind of like random things. And then every once in a while you get a Women of Honor show. They have their own show that only shows up maybe once every 2 months. I'm guessing unless you like subscribe to their website, then you get their shows. Maybe, I don't know. Their pay-per-views are only on the internet. They're internet pay-per-views, except for a couple big ones. They're not in every country. Well, Impact's in Canada, obviously the US, the UK, India, Australia, Germany. Trying to think, because I don't know. Watch the opening segment. You'll see they tell you everywhere that they're at. So no, Ring of Honor, you're not number 2 in the world. I'll give it to New Japan. Right now, New Japan is probably number 2 company in the world. They're very popular. But Impact is number 3, if not 2B. Ring of Honor's 3 or 4, depending on how you want to call Impact. Then you probably have AAA might even be in front of Ring of Honor, but AAA's not really seen too many places. So. But anyway, I'm going long, and I got a Husker football game to get ready for, so that's going to take a lot of drinking, the way they've been playing this year. Say like I'm not even wearing a Husker shirt like I was last week, and I'm wearing Macho Man. All right, but anyway, until next week, Impact Nation. Hit me up on Twitter at Anthem of Impact. Hit that subscribe button. Hit those like buttons. And everybody have a good weekend. And my prayers are still out with people in Houston, people in Florida, people in Puerto Rico and the Dominican, and everything else with everything that they're going through. So everybody, please keep your mind on them, keep your prayers with them. Until next Thursday, though, peace.